I call this meeting of the Planning and Development Committee for May 5th, 2025 to order, and I would ask Councilman Mitchell if he would do the invocation.
Bow our heads, please. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for the rain that you brought us, and thank you for the sunshine that is with us now. Now let us shed some light on what we have to do here at County Council, planning, development, and all the things that we have to do. Give us this day so that we can move forward in a very positive way in helping the people of Greenville County live and thrive in Greenville. Amen.
Amen. I need a motion to approve the minutes from the March 31st, 2025 meeting.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Blunt. All right. So I guess we're ready to go to the following public hearings on March 14th. 25 were presented to the Planning Commission on April 23rd, 2025, and our first docket is, staff, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our first docket tonight is CZ-2025-022. The property is located at 12 Old Chick Springs Road in Taylors. The applicant is Larry Kevin Cushman for Cole Emma 2 LLC. The .343 acre subject property consists of one parcel and is located approximately 0.29 miles south of the intersection of St. Mark Road and Wade Hampton Boulevard, Highway 29. Currently contains vacant land. This is the zoning of the surrounding area. Subject property outlined here is zoned R20, Single Family Residential District. The request is for RMA, Multifamily Residential District. You can also see the surrounding property zones. The applicant states the proposed land use is a duplex. This is the subject site, a photo showing the area surrounding the subject site. Staff is of the opinion that successful rezoning to RMA, Multifamily Residential District, would permit uses that are not compatible with the surrounding area, while the density requested is consistent with the Taylor's Community Plan designation of medium density residential. The requested zoning district is not. Based on these reasons, staff recommends denial of the requested rezoning to RMA, Multifamily Residential District. Greenville County Planning Commission also recommended denial. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Kelly, Councilwoman Kelly Long has asked for one of her constituents to speak. Is he here? If you would, come, I'll give you 3 minutes. That's a long time when you get up here. Name and address, please.
Trevor Millen, 4 Honeybee Lane, Taylor, South Carolina.
Go ahead and make your comments, please.
So Kelly and I have talked about, since RMA is so dense, I guess, that we could go to R10 because R10's one block or one lot over. Or another recommendation of another zoning would be instead of RMA, even though RMA is around it, but R10's right next, or one off. Or we could go to R8.
Okay. All right.
Anything else?
Mr. Chairman, I'd spoken with Councilor Long about this too, and I think I'd spoken with Josh briefly about this, and it seems like the best way to move forward to get it into a lower density zoning and still get what he wants would be to you correct me if I'm wrong, but basically come back to you. We put this on hold. He could come back to you and begin the process again under a different zoning, or how would we approach this the easiest way?
So you have the ability to amend that here in P&D if you would
Okay.
like. Yes, sir.
So amend it to which would be the best for the citizen.
So if they would like to do a duplex, then R10 would still permit a duplex and would match zoning in that area.
So I guess what is the process? So do we just amend it here on the floor?
You can. So the request currently is for RMA. You can amend the request to R10, and it would be sent to full council with a request of R10 single family residential.
Okay.
And you-
Mr. Chairman, unless anybody, my colleagues have anything else, I would like to make a motion that we amend this docket number to reflect the R10, which is being requested, or RM. Which one were you talking about? Where's RM8 and then there's
R10's fine.
And this would get him still what he's looking for, just not with the added potential density.
Correct. It would.
So I make a motion that we amend this to allow for rezoning under under R10.
Any questions on Mr. Councilman Blunt's amendment? No? So I guess we're ready for a vote for this? All in favor? If you want
Aye.
to change this, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, we got you.
Do I need to resubmit application form or anything?
Nope.
No?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Do we need an additional vote,
Yeah,
correct?
you now need to, now you have on the floor
As
the actual
amended.
matter as amended.
So we need to approve this as amended?
Yep.
All in favor to approve as amended, say aye.
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 So it is approved as amended. On the minutes from last, I didn't ask for a vote to approve the minutes from last time. Didn't made a motion, but I didn't ask for a vote, so all approval of the minutes from last time? From May, from what was it? March 31st. All in favor of the approval of the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Now,
Good catch.
I'm getting old, but I'm slow and old. All right. So next docket, please.
The next docket is CZ-2025-023. The property is located at 13,025 Old White Horse Road in Travelers Rest. The applicant is Joshua Rafe Laws. The 1 acre subject property consists of one parcel and is located approximately 0.06 miles south of the intersection of Old White Horse Road and Gear Highway, Highway 276. Currently contains single-family residential. This is the zoning of the surrounding area. Subject property outlined here is zoned RS, Residential Suburban District. The request is for C1 Commercial District. You can also see the surrounding property zones. The applicant states their proposed land use is a pet grooming salon. This is the subject site and photos showing the area surrounding the subject site. Staff is of the opinion that successful rezoning to C1 Commercial District would not be consistent with the primarily residential zoning and uses located along Old White Horse Road and could potentially begin to change the residential nature of Old White Horse Road. Based on these reasons, staff recommends denial of the requested rezoning to C1 Commercial District. Greenwood County Planning Commission also recommended denial. Mr. Chairman.
Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, could you
Yes, sir.
go back to the picture just for a moment, the area, or yeah. Is there, I know this is way outside of this particular parcel, but is there any time frame on when we rezoned these areas for commercial in that intersection? Like, is this recent, or they've been that way for a while?
So this area was initially zoned in 1973. I don't have information on if those were initial zoned to commercial with it or if that happened later. Do we know?
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have that information.
That's fine. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other discussion? I need a motion.
Well, considering I've heard nothing contrary, move for denial.
All in favor for now, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
None, those are all four. All right. That motion has been denied. Next docket, please.
Next docket is CZ-2025-024. The property is located at 601 and 609 Jacobs Road, Maxwell Avenue, and Reardon Drive in Greenville. The applicant is Jesse Lee Evans for Lakeisha Michelle Evans and Dorothy J. Kitchen. The 2.35 acre subject property consists of two parcels and is located approximately 0.95 miles northeast of the intersection of Jacobs Road and White Horse Road, Highway 25. Currently contains two single-family residences. This is the zoning of the surrounding area. Subject property outlined here is zoned R20 Single Family Residential District. The request is for R10 Single Family Residential District. You can also see the surrounding property zones. The applicant states the proposed land use is duplexes. This is the subject site and photos showing the area surrounding the subject site. Staff is of the opinion that successful rezoning to R10 Single Family Residential District would be consistent with the planned Greenville County Comprehensive Plan designation of suburban neighborhood. Based on these reasons, staff recommends approval of the requested rezoning to R10 Single Family Residential District. Greenville County Planning Commission recommended denial. Mr. Chairman.
All right, any discussion? Dr. Fant, this being in your,
I was trying to figure out what the staff was thinking, that all those people in all those residential houses, there's no duplex anywhere, and it comes out recommended approval. Thank God for the planning commission this time. But anyway, I would move for denial.
all right, any other, all in favor of the denial, let me hear aye. Aye. All right, this request has been denied. Next docket, please.
Next docket is CZ-2025-025. The property is located at 3835 East North Street in Greenville. The applicant is Jamie L. O'Brien for Carolina Holdings, Inc. for James A. Boyling, Jr. The .6 acre subject property consists of one parcel and is located approximately 0.23 miles northeast of the intersection of East North Street and Howell Haywood Road, and currently contains an business office. This is the zoning of the surrounding area. Subject property outlined here is zoned OD Office District. The request is for C1 Commercial District. You can also see the surrounding property zones. The applicant states the proposed land use is to allow additional commercial uses. This is the subject site and photos showing the area surrounding the subject site. Staff is of the opinion that successful rezoning to C1 Commercial District is consistent with the planned Greenville County Comprehensive Plan designation of suburban center. Additionally, staff feels the requested zoning district would not create an adverse impact on surrounding parcels. Based on these reasons, staff recommends approval of the requested rezoning to C1 Commercial District. Greenville County Planning Commission also recommended approval. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
All in favor of approval, say aye. Aye. This passes. Next docket, please.
Next docket is CZ-2025-026. Property is located on New Easley Highway in Greenville. The applicant is Paul J. Harrison of Blue Water Civil Design for Palmetto Business Partners, LLC. The 8.3 acre subject property consists of one parcel and is located approximately 0.31 miles northwest of the Easley Bridge Road and White Horse Road overpass and currently contains vacant land. This is the zoning of the surrounding area. Subject property outlined here is zoned S1 Services District. The request is for RM8 Multifamily Residential District. You can also see the surrounding property zones. The applicant states the proposed land use is single-family attached residential. This is the subject site and photos showing the area surrounding the subject site. Staff is of the opinion that successful rezoning to RM8 Multifamily Residential District would not be consistent with the planned Greenville County Comprehensive Plan designation of rural corridor, which lists primary uses of agriculture, warehouses, and highway commercial, and secondary uses of single-family residential at a density of one dwelling per 2+ acres. Nor the proposal be consistent with the Riverdale Tanglewood Area Plan designation of service. While the area plan does speak to preventing intensive uses such as heavy industrial, it also speaks to the pursuit of light industrial and services uses on existing S1 zoned properties to bring jobs into the area. Based on these reasons, staff recommends denial of the requested rezoning to RM8 Multifamily Residential District. Greenville County Planning Commission also recommended denial. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Councilman Mitchell, that's your district. Do you have any input?
The only additional input I have is that we were working with the SCDOT to try to do something about Bent Bridge Road if this were going to go forward. And DOT got back with us and said that they would be in favor of bringing Bent Bridge out into a 90-degree angle on White Horse to straighten that out, and that would relieve some of the concerns and also help with the current conditions on that intersection. So if we deny this, then we'll send it back to the drawing board, and the developer would have to come up with something different to be satisfactory to everybody. So I'll try to work closer with the staff the next time so that I'm not working on two different things. The staff is working on the plan, and I'm working with SCDOT to try to get some resolution. So I'm good with it either way.
Well, any other discussion?
Man, all that speech, and I don't still don't understand anything you said. What are
Okay,
you saying?
look, the staff is recommending denial on this based on their work.
Okay.
Okay? And the community had some concerns, but they weren't so much of the concerns of the development itself. They were concerns about the intersection. So I focused on the intersection for my part to let staff do their work. And since the staff has done their work and the planning commission has done their work, and they're recommending that this is not a good spot to do what the developer wants to do, I'm not going to go against it.
Well, how about a motion?
How about I need a motion.
How about a
I
motion?
don't need a motion.
We're not bailing you out, so just-
Okay, I'll go with staff recommendation and move that we deny it.
All in favor of a denial, say aye. Aye. This motion fails. Next docket, please.
The next docket is CZ-2025-027. The property is located at 1421 Old Gunter Road in Piedmont. The applicant is Pamela Wilson Gandhi for Cigar S. Gandhi. The 15-acre subject property consists of one parcel and is located approximately 1.23 miles southwest of the Augusta Road and I-185 overpass, and currently contains single-family residential. This is the zoning of the surrounding area. Subject property outlined here is zoned RS, Residential Suburban District. The request is for AG Agricultural Preservation District. You can also see the surrounding property zones. The applicant states their proposed land use is single-family residential with agriculture. This is the subject site and photo showing the area surrounding the subject site. Staff is of the opinion that successful rezoning to AG Agricultural Preservation District be consistent with the goals of the South Greenville Area Plan, which prioritizes the preservation of agricultural land and the rural character of the area. Staff does not feel that requested rezoning would have an adverse impact on the surrounding area. Based on these reasons, staff recommends approval of the requested rezoning to AG Agricultural Preservation District. Greenville County Planning Commission also recommended approval. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any discussion? Do I have a motion?
this is how you make a motion without a speech. Move for approval.
All in favor of approval, say aye. Aye. This motion passes. Next docket, please.
Next docket is CZ-2025-028, which is to amend Article 8, Section 8:5.8 ESDPM, Environmentally Sensitive District Paris Mountain Special Provisions of the Greenville County Zoning Ordinance. Here you see the current language of Section 858, Special Provisions of the Greenville County Zoning Ordinance. The proposed change would remove the current wording from the section and leave it blank. Here you see an aerial of the ESDPM boundary. Here you see the ESDPM zoning and zoning in the surrounding area. Staff is of the opinion that the proposed change would close an unintended loophole and remove an ambiguous process from the current text of the Greenville County Zoning Ordinance. Based on these reasons, staff recommends approval of the proposed text amendment. Greenville County Planning Commission also recommended approval. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any discussion? Any motion?
Mr. Chairman.
I was moving right along. You gotta get quick.
No, I was going to ask, I think Counselor Shaw is here with us, which he brought this amendment. I just wanted to get clarity to make sure we were good on the info as far as what we were doing. Apparently there was something in here that was, just to clear up what we're doing, just if you could run over for me.
Thank you, Chairman Blunt. Can you hear me? Okay. Yes, this one is standalone. It's the one we've already approved, and all we would be trying to do is remove that developer loophole. And I would just ask that you would, as already been approved, that you would just simply approve this, and I'll answer any questions. But this does not conflict with a second effort that we're bringing tonight.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions for Councilman Shaw?
I move motion to approve.
All right, all in favor for approval, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved.
So that concludes the rezoning dockets we have tonight, but I believe we do have some text amendments to move on to next.
So the, item 5 is a land development regulations amendment to the cluster development section of the ordinance. I believe this has been brought by one of the council members, so I will, staff's here to answer any questions y'all might have.
Councilman Blunt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was getting ready to say I wanted to turn my time over to my colleague who just came in. Perfect timing. No, it's all right. We were just getting ready to take up the land development regulations amendment, and I was getting ready to make a motion, but we might not need to do that. So I'll let you, if you want to make any comments on it or whatever you would like to do.
And excuse my tardiness, just got done working. The intent of that is to bring it back correctly, but in the meantime, to not allow people to use it incorrectly. So as we move forward with amendments and stuff, could have been quite lengthy. So I thought the quickest way to do this would be to just take it off the table for the meantime. Since I've done that, I've gotten a lot of people's attention in a good way. I've gotten a lot of feedback from different people about it. So I think when we bring it back, it'll be pretty easy and everybody will be pretty happy with it. So I thought that was just the quickest and cleanest way to fix this issue that we're having in the county right now.
So I'm making a motion to hold this item.
No,
Oh, or we vote, I thought you said to hold until we got you. All right, y'all let you go ahead and take it up.
Or any other discussion?
So you asking to basically repeal the section completely and get rid of cluster?
For the meantime, not forever. I want to bring it back with some safeguards on it and some intent, some clear intent put on it. Right now, the intent is they're putting density where density is not intended. And I think that's a real issue for the county. So I've actually gotten some feedback from some developers, from some builders, from people on the planning commission itself, some people that used to be on the planning commission. So I think we can really have a big win here in the end.
To some degree, I agree with you, to some degree. I am not in favor of getting rid of cluster completely, okay? I do think it has a place. However, I wish that we would do development more based on zoning and not cluster. Let me tell you what I don't like, okay? And then why I think cluster works. If I spend when people buy land, they buy it per acre, right? So if I gotta buy 100 acres at $30,000 an acre, then all of a sudden, 30% of it's gotta be open space or whatever. Well, I just bought 30 acres that I can't do anything with. That's wrong to me, okay? So the second you get rid of cluster, then you hear well, all of a sudden you don't care about affordable housing, everything was gonna be through the roof, blah, blah, blah. I hear that. But can we not keep cluster, but it be as a second fallback if zoning doesn't work? Like, for example, everybody wants to do these 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 square foot lots for higher density. If I got 100 acres and it's flat and there's no rocks and no cliffs, I shouldn't be forced to put a playground or a recreational space I mean, I don't know how y'all grew up, but I didn't have a recreational anything. I played in the yards, street, whatever. Wouldn't a developer like it more if they could maximize all the lots that the zoning will call for versus being forced to leave open space and buy land that they can't use? Long story short, I'd like to see us do a 3-month moratorium on cluster. Not like repeal it for short term. Do a moratorium for 3 months. Let's look at reducing zoning or to maximize to increase density availability and make that be the first fallback. This is just my thought. Now, I'm not going to die on a sword over it, but it's just an initial thought. Use the zoning, because that way developers could maximize the land if it doesn't have bad spots, floodplains and all that. And I could care less about a playground or green space and all that.
Can I quote you on that?
I'm just being truthful. Because I didn't have any green space. And I think I turned out okay. I didn't have green space. However, let's say the land they bought does have some floodplain and some very bad topo. And they're going to lose so many acres. In that case, the regular zoning doesn't work because you're just going to make them lose lots that they can't use. Then fall back to the cluster where we fall back to the usable part and use higher density and then use the other part that you can't use anyway as open space. Just some thoughts I had since this came out. I'm not in favor of getting rid of it completely.
And
But
I'm
I
not,
do see where it can be used, but I would like to see us go more toward higher density through zoning as a first resort and then fall back to cluster. And I'm not trying to debate it today.
No,
I'm
it's
just
perfect.
giving you some thought
Yeah.
of, I would go with a 3-month moratorium until we can come back with some common ground.
well, I think a 3-month moratorium is no different than killing it. If we just get rid of it and then I promise
Politically,
you.
it doesn't work as well.
Well, I'm with you, but I mean, I promise you it'll come back. I'm not in the right form with the right safeguards. I'm not over here trying to say it's gone forever. I've never said that. That's been my position from the very start, is that the quickest way to prevent people from keep using it right now, and a moratorium's great, but if it takes us 3 or 4 months and then all of a sudden it's back on, then we got the whole process of getting it read through again and getting another moratorium put up. It's a lot cleaner if we say we're done and we will bring it back and reevaluate it with some of the great input you're having, Mr. Fan. I mean, it's great. Another question I've had for that as I'm getting up here now for everybody is, if everything's been so wrong for so long, how come no one's ever fixed it? And now that I've said that I'm going to get rid of this, there's a big kerfuffle out there that everybody wants to put their input in. Well, where were these people last year? Where were they 2 years ago? Where were they 3 months ago? And now that we want to kill, everybody's coming out of the woodwork like termites. So my goal here is there's obviously something's wrong then. It needs to be fixed. And to me, this is the best way to do it.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Blunt?
Just for clarity, because this was kind of one of my questions, but I'm going to mix it in with Dr. Fant's comments on it. Legally, are there any differences in if we were to completely get rid of cluster development versus a moratorium? And what I mean by that is if somebody's already in the queue, if somebody's already in the pipeline for a cluster development, does a moratorium affect it differently than if we were to just strike this in general?
With that, the devil will be in the details of how we drafted it. I mean, if you think of other ordinances, we've come in and made a big change. A lot of times we include a clause in that ordinance that says that anything that's already in the pipeline, that they are under the old rules, so they would be able to continue. So with the moratorium, that's the first, I haven't really researched whether a moratorium would have I would have a problem with us, I think, addressing it, though, as a way to stop something that's in the middle of the process, but I'd need a little more time to look at that before I really wanted to opine on that part.
Sure, and that's kind of why I was asking the
Yeah.
question. I didn't know legally, even one way or the other, a moratorium could actually hurt us legally more if it does affect those currently in there, so I wasn't sure if it did or not, but
Yeah.
I just want to get clarity. Thank you.
One other, Josh just pointed out the zoning ordinance does also have some provisions in it for open space and that type of thing. And so whether or not this it would affect the zoning ordinance as well. We haven't really, I mean, right now, we're looking at a LDR, but in the zoned areas of the council, it has open space provisions as well. So I'll just point that out just in case, we would be in a text amendment situation if you wanted to address those portions too, just to clarify where we are on everything.
I'd love to address that too. That's why we're at it.
So that's, and not being rude here, but that's why we have a bunch of wonderful people that work in our staff, our legal department. We have a bunch of great people that work for the county, and that's their job. So what I'm saying is, I agree with you, and there are some other things, but that's what we all get paid for at the county. So as far as I'm concerned, this shouldn't be an issue. We should be able to go through and know those sections. If we need to fix those up, then we'll fix them up. That's not an issue to me.
I wasn't suggesting it's an issue on your thing. I was just adding that, there may be a companion piece you want to consider if you're doing it all the way.
Okay, yeah, let's do this for now, and then when the problems arise, we'll whack-a-mole them and get them done. Unless the staff can bring those to me sooner, then we'll bring all those out of there. I'm just one person, so if there's something I'm missing, bring it forward, and I want to fix it.
I had Gary Collins called and said he was a citizen from District 27 that wanted 3 minutes to speak. Are you here on clusters? All right. I said I would do that, so they're not here. So, any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir, Mr. Howard.
I'd like to ask Mr. Coker a question. Relative to clusters, didn't the UDO speak to that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Could you just give us a quick summary of what the UDO said about the cluster?
Sure. So first of all, in the UDO, there is no cluster. It's open space. And so open space has very specific definition, and there are criteria that go along with open space. And so there's actually, within the document, an entire section that talks about what is and is not open space. Within open space itself, it separates it into different categories, from natural areas to more structured places like pocket parks and neighborhood ball fields and things like that. And so that's the open space section. There's also another section in the subdivision types. I can't remember what article that is, but open space subdivision, those are allowed in the RM6 to R20 district. So they're not allowed in RS. I'm sorry, they are. I need your head.
No, I'm
Yeah.
agreeing with what you said.
Oh, yeah. So they are obviously allowed in the RM districts. They're also allowed in the RMs, the Rs. They're not allowed in RR3, however, unlike now. And then the open space subdivisions, they're required to have a certain percentage of open space, which is higher than what is currently part of the zoning ordinance and the land development regulations. And those open space requirements are different than the zoning ordinance and the land development regulations. Again, there's an open space menu and certain features that can sometimes comprise the total amount of open space. For example, perimeter buffers are allowed to count towards open space, but only under certain criteria and with limits. So with perimeter buffers, that would be up to 30% of the open space. The UDO is very clear that no man-made infrastructure may count as open space, so no roads, sidewalks, driveways, overhead utility lines, parking lots, swimming pools, impervious surfaces. And so, again, open space, it's not just untouched land, but it can be. And so it's just a much more structured way, and the intent behind it is to provide developers and the engineers and landscape architects they hire to to have some clear guidance on what the county's expectations are. And again, the overall percentage requirements, that's really the key to it all, right? If we ask for 15%, we'll get 15%. Unless a developer has a vision for what they want to do and that limit or that amount increases. But generally speaking, the UDO asks for significantly higher amounts of open space than, again, what we currently have. I know that's a long-winded answer, but hopefully that answers
But-
your question.
My whole point here is we passed the document that would already address this, but now it seems like we're going to piecemeal it and go back and try to deal with little pieces of it. To me, that's a waste of time when we have a document already that could have been in place. So, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I have a couple of questions. Definitely cluster housing is a big deal where I am because it's all over. My question, if we say, hey, we don't stop cluster as today, what are the legal ramifications of that? If I bought land yesterday and I want a cluster, now I can't. Are we liable as a county?
I haven't researched that, or my office hasn't researched that fully. It's an issue. I don't know. But that's something that would be better done if we had some time to take a look at that. If you're concerned about it, I can get an answer. I just don't have it right now.
I would think it's a legitimate concern.
Yes, sir.
Well, I know if I'd bought 50 acres and I couldn't use 20 of it, and now I'm told for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months that I can't do anything, I'll have an issue with that. I also have a problem with saying that, yeah, we're going to come back to this and we'll change it, but that's just, and I trust Kurt, I don't doubt that, but Kurt could not be here tomorrow,
Well, the thing is too, I mean, I could put $5,000 in the stock market tomorrow thinking it's going up and it goes down. I mean, it's speculative. That's part of the investment choice that developers are making and people are making when they sell and buy land. So to say that, I mean, for your argument to be valid that if I bought 50 acres today on the premise that I was going to do cluster develop it, you haven't even applied for it yet. It's kind of speculative. I'm not saying anything. That argument for me on its face, that's how I would approach it.
But if we stop it and they are in some sort of process, we have, that's,
How can that, and this is, Mr. Ann, this will bring me to the next point, if I may, Chairman, real quick, is that I would like you to show me tomorrow before we have this big meeting tomorrow, where in the state law it says that we have to allow every development that's applied for, no matter if they meet the regulations or not. I'd like to see that because I think there's and this is the big gorilla in the room everyone wants to talk about. I'm going to talk about it right now, and I want everybody in this room and everybody up here to hear it. I'd like someone to show me in the state regulation where it says if developer meets A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and that's all he has to meet, he can build whatever he wants. I'd like someone to show me that because here's the thing. If that was the case, we'd have a bunch of bureaucrats sitting in a back room with a red check mark, checking all the boxes. Yeah, go build whatever you want, but we don't. We have a planning commission, we have a P&D committee, we have a county council. So why do we have those things? So I don't think the intent of state law, when I read it, I can't find it. I've looked for it, but I'm just a pilot. What do I know? So I'm not a legal guy, but I'd like someone to show me in the state laws where it says if you meet A through G, you're allowed to do whatever you want. That's not the case, I believe, but I'll let smarter people in the room. That's why you get paid 10 times more than I do. So please find that out for me.
Well, I still am where I am. Kurt, I'm halfway in agreement with you. I mean, I really want to help you. Politically, I am not going to just eliminate cluster in front of God and everybody tonight. That just will not survive. And me try to get some rest because my phone number's public. So I'm just not doing that. But I am willing to do a moratorium and work to try to find some common ground and bring all the people in that we don't even like talking to, that we always just complain about, and get everybody in the room and hash it out and come up with something that everybody can live with. That's the best I can do. I cannot vote to get rid of it, though.
Getting rid of it is the same as a moratorium. I think it's cleaner because if we run past the moratorium, then right back where we started and we haven't accomplished anything.
But at least it gives us the 3 months that we know we got to work it instead of lasting 6, 8, 9, 10 months.
But what if it doesn't get worked? What if we get opposition or can't get it through, don't have the votes to do it right? What happens then? Then we're back to where we started. And I'm not confident the UDO will get through.
Well, yeah, I really don't want to hear about the UDO. Who
I'm
God
just
knows
saying.
what that might
So
have
my
to do.
point is, I think the cleanest way for us to do this is to say enough, and let's make a commitment, and I'm willing to say that out to God and country, a commitment that we'll bring it back with the safeguards we want to put into it. I'll make a commitment right here in front of everybody that we will bring it back correctly. This is not going in the trash can and gone forever.
Can we do an amendment? Or did he even make a motion?
I don't think a
We haven't
motion's
made a
been put
motion.
on, y'all have just been in debate, but amendments, yes, just like any other ordinance you can.
Go ahead and make your motion, and then I'm gonna do an amendment, so we can at least try to move on.
All right.
And wherever it falls, it just falls. But it won't be on me.
All right, make a motion to pass the, what's the number there? Sorry, guys.
Delete Article 11.
To delete Article 11 from the county ordinances as stated in the memorandum.
Yeah,
Chairman, I'd like to offer an amendment.
okay, Dr. Fent.
That we do a 3-month moratorium on any cluster developments, grandfathering in any of those that are already in the process for 3 months, until we can come back and try to find some common ground.
Well, I don't, it kind of just says, I don't think that would be an amendment because that would be a different ordinance. Like, this is a moratorium, this is to delete it. So if you amend it to a moratorium, it's totally different than an ordinance, correct?
You could amend, that would be an amendment, though.
Okay, you want to amend it to be a moratorium instead of a deletion?
Yeah.
So I guess, we need a discussion on the amendment?
I think we already had a discussion, but
So I guess now we vote for the amendment first?
Right now, you need to
Vote the amendment.
dispose of Councilman Fant's motion first, just in order, and then however that's done, and then it goes back to the main motion, depending on if the motion to amend passes or fails.
All right. I'm thinking. I got the little gophers running around on my little wheel in my head. I guess, so the amendment's up for a vote. All in favor of Mr. Fant's, Dr. Fant's amendment?
roll call?
Roll call has been asked for. I don't know.
Have we ever had a roll call here before?
No.
think we've done it digitally here, so probably still show it.
Just do it.
A show of hands is fine.
Yeah.
I just want us all on record.
Oh, it's gonna be on record.
All right. Mr. McGahee,
Nay.
Mr. Blunt? Okay.
No,
Mr. Bradley?
no.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Fant?
Yes.
So the amendment fails, so now we go to the motion.
Yeah, now Councilman McGahee's motion, as originally stated, is on the floor.
I'd like to reintroduce the motion to pass the land development regulation amendment, cluster housing as in the memorandum and ordinance.
All in favor of the ordinance, if they would say aye?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
No.
So this has passed. All right, number 6, design standards.
All right. Item 6 is another amendment to land development regulations for design standards. I'm not sure who,
That was Councilor Steve
this is Councilman Shaw?
You want me to come up?
Yes. State your name, the address.
Parts unknown.
And you got 3 minutes.
Thank you again, P&D Committee. This one has actually come out of, this has been around for a long time, design standards. It's come out of the conservation community. And just out of common sense, it's been asked of me for a long time from advocates. But imagine a place like Northern Greenville University where you've got a university up there, there's no zoning, there's no real protection, and then they put a Dollar General across the street. That's really happened. That was glaring to me. And the purpose of this, the details I'll leave up to council to come up with, along with staff. But the purpose is just to say, hey, when you're going to put a building up, it needs to be respectfully compatible with the surrounding neighborhood, with the character of the neighborhood, And you're not, you just can't put the same building that I see in Florida here and everywhere else in the United States. I mean, there's probably 5,000 of that same building, which is just a box. So that's the whole purpose of it. That's the nutshell. And I would ask that you would pass it here and have at it and do what you want with it. But I think the citizens would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shaw. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I think thank you, Councilor Shaw, for putting that forward. I think this is a move in the right direction in the sense that I think we need to give our planning commission the guidelines and the rails and where they need to operate. And it's not always black and white. It's kind of, there are some things that, hey, people sent this to me, some, positive, negative, both aesthetically pleasing. That means different things to different people. But I think we can all agree that putting a Dollar General downtown on Greenville on the main street is probably not aesthetically pleasing to the downtown and probably would not be a plus. All right. So I think what this does is, and we need, moving forward, I've talked to a lot of planning commissioners, is we need to start using definitions and guidelines to start shaping how we're making decisions. And, not everything's black and white. So I'll be voting for this tonight. And thank you, Steve.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Chairman.
I guess my only concern with this is the subjectivity of it. I realize we have to have some, but for example, my opinion of what's aesthetically compatible could be completely different than everybody else in the county. So it's not that I'm opposed to this. I just feel like it is very, very broad, and it needs some work before adoption. I guess my other question would be, who would make the final determination of the proposed development to see if it met these subjective design standards? Would that be Planning Commission? Would that be council? Would that be, who would decide that?
It says under letter C, Greenville County Planning staff shall require all new business office, assembly. So it looks like it would be planning staff, and then it goes to D, appeals of the decision of the Greenville County Planning staff shall be heard and voted on before the Greenville County Council.
I'll say it this way, and I'm not saying one way or the other on how I'm voting on it, but it's more of just later on in the agenda, we are discussing taking approval powers away from staff, but we're giving them approval power in this exact same meeting under a different topic. So I'm just confused as to why we would do the next one if we're going to do that, if we're going to give staff the ability to make the decisions here. It just doesn't seem to add up. That's all. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
May I respond?
Yes, sir.
I think the later thing you're talking about with Planning Commission is whether they can make a recommendation or not, but not a decision. This would allow planning staff to make a decision at the permit stage. Because right now, all they do is apply for a permit, I believe, right? It's not zoned. You apply for a permit and you're approved or not. The provisions, Chairman Blount, you're talking about later on with the Planning Commission has to do with whether they can make a recommendation or not. And the only reason that's of concern at all is that we have our board members who we appoint, and the public has told me they have the fear that a recommendation from the professionals can sometimes influence the Planning Commission's decision. So that would be the difference.
Any other discussion? Dr. Fant.
It sounds good, and I know people want things to be aesthetically attractive. But aesthetically attractive to who? I mean, Dr. Shaw used the Dollar General. I don't like Dollar General, period, inside or out. So, what are you going to do? The cost of everything is skyrocketing. People are in business to make money. I don't want to give it to some crowd to say, well, it needs a brick front, and it needs this facade with this much overhang. And we're just crippling business and adding costs that somebody subjectively would like to see. I understand what you're trying to accomplish in theory, but from an economic point, I'm almost like the free market needs to be able to do its thing, and I just do not like the heavy-handedness of government. And I'm starting to sound more like y'all should sound. I don't like the heavy-handedness of government and putting their freaking thumb on every single thing you try to do. So I'm against it.
Councilman Mitchell?
Mr. Chairman, I hate to say this, but this looks to me like anybody can suddenly decide that they don't like something. And if they get enough people who don't like it, then that means that it won't become anything. What's going to happen to new ideas? I mean, there are a lot of people that don't like this building that we're in because it's too much glass, or it's this, or it's that. And come on, it's a nice building. It's functional. It meets the county's requirements for doing business, but it's not what they're used to. And just because it's not what you're used to doesn't mean it's bad. Now, you throw in something like a Dollar General store as an example, but I'm sure that the Dollar General Corporation made a business decision that says this is the kind of building that we can put everywhere. It'll be our signature, and people will go to Dollar General. But when we were in the School of Architecture, one of the movies that we had to watch was Fountainhead. And that movie talked about new ideas, new concepts, new buildings, and the architect wanted to put something in an area where it was going to stand out, but it didn't look like everything else. It didn't quite fit. And the board of architects who were reviewing it, they were all in agreement because they were all with the old style. So this kind of thing, to me, is misguided. It looks like, I know Dr. Shaw said that people have been coming to him for a long time about this, but it's just getting to us. So to me, it's too fast, it's too quick, it's not well thought out, and it's going to cause more problems than we need. If we have people who are professionals who are reviewing things and can give suggestions to developers or to landowners or to investors to say, you know, this would probably fit a little bit better here than over there, then fine. We're not talking about putting the Dollar General downtown in that block form. But if you go to larger cities, you have McDonald's and Dollar General and Burger King and all kinds of places that are designed to fit their surroundings. If you go out on Pelham Road, you got a Walmart that's neatly tucked back, and it complements the area around. So I think we need to let business take care of business, and we take care of government. And as Dr. Fant said, not be so heavy-handed with putting our thumbs on things and making our own imprints. So, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
I'd just like to ask the staff then, according to the definitions we currently have on, how would these compare, in your opinion?
Are you referring to the definitions in the red line version?
Correct. What's your take? You're the expert.
Professionally and personally, I think aesthetically pleasing to one person might not be aesthetically pleasing to the next person that comes in behind. It does leave a little subjectivity to it.
Are we in a better place if this passes or fails?
I can't speak to that.
Why not? I mean, I'm not asking for an expert opinion. It's like if I'm not a planner, I'm not a developer, I'm not a person that does this for a living. So, I'm just asking your opinion. Does this help the county?
I'm here for 4 more days, so
So
I'll
help me out. Go ahead, T. Hey, I've
think
been
the
in
short-
Afghanistan 16 months. I told somebody, if you think you make my life worse, go ahead and try. So you got 4 days.
I think it's a good idea. But as Mr. Antley said, I think the devil's in the details. And from an administrative standpoint, it's very unclear as to how this could be managed. When you think about, we are bureaucrats, right? So we do have processes, we have rules, we do have checklists, we do have to pay attention to the details, and the details are the things that are lacking here. And then I guess the other piece is, if it's, we keep talking about a Dollar General, if we want to have some basic rules for facades or transparency or materials, there's a way to do that, but it needs to be more specific in nature. So I think there's if the council is interested in moving this direction, there's certainly a way to do it. But I think staff, the purpose of staff is to execute the policies that the council wishes to implement. So the staff needs specific guidance. These are all professionals and adults, and they have minds of their own. So it's not like this all has to be spoon-fed, but they are going to be, think about how it's going to work. The planning staff, the plan review folks, they're going to be looking at actual plans, actual drawings that come in a big stack. We're going to be the feature materials that feature all of the details. So it's going to make the most sense to have a conversation where the ordinance speaks to the way that architects and engineers design. Because, we talk about how staff is going to, or county council is going to evaluate aesthetically pleasing. Ask a structural engineer to evaluate aesthetically pleasing, and I don't know how many structural engineers but that's not really their strong suit. So,
Okay.
So anyway, I'm not trying to, with all respect, I'm not trying to poo-poo the idea. I think that just there's a way that the county can have a very light touch of design standards and requirements that's not going to demand much of anyone. The point is that it needs to be clear and specific.
May I make a motion to hold this until I'd like to make a motion to hold this ordinance until Councilor Shaw can make some amendments or changes that would be pleasable to pass.
He made it.
Yep, so we need to vote on
Motion to hold.
motion to hold.
Well, there was gonna be a no the other way, but that's fine. It's just too subjective. I think about that Publix down on McBee. That's nice. It fits in with all the other buildings around. It's a way to do it, but
Okay.
I just don't want.
Let's hold it. Let's make a motion, then again, the motion to hold, and then we'll let Councilor Shaw make some amendments, and we can have some more discussion.
All right, all in favor to put this on hold, say aye.
Aye.
All right, this motion was on hold. Amendment.
All right.
Number
Our next
seven.
one, I think, is Councilman Shaw again for, this is also to the land development regulations. Computer's not working.
Name and address.
I think my address is here now. I live here now, after all. Okay, this is just the 3-minute, 2-minute version of this. This came from the community. This came from people who keep track of the Planning Commission a lot, and from other counselors talking with that. And I believe Chairman Bradley, we talked about some add-ons to this that would be helpful. The main point here was trying to reel in decisions of the Planning Commission that appeared to be erring on the side of always giving the applicant whatever they thought was In other words, if there was any gray areas, it always went in favor of the applicant and the developer. If there was a variance request, the surrounding communities might have a buffer getting taken away that was supposed to protect them, and the developer has a reason why that buffer needs to be infringed upon with a variance. So anyway, another point was that the staff knows this stuff inside and out. They're excellent, but that their ability to recommend things, either denial or passing, may have an influence on the decision of the planning council. That's, obviously debatable, but that's why it's in here. And I think the last part was that a lot of our citizens for years have been complaining about not having equal voice at the actual planning commission meetings and application presentations. I think there was a rule that they could turn in as much paper as they wanted, but they didn't get equal time. So this just seeks to give the citizens the same standing as the applicant at the actual meeting. So it's a fairness. And again, this is something I put in. Anytime I file anything, I hope and expect that the body of 12 of us all put their minds together and put in what's good or bad. And I live with your votes. I mean, I'm not hurt if you don't think it's a good idea. Thank you.
All right, any discussion?
Well, I try not to come to planning commission meetings because they are really lengthy, and you better eat before you come. But the few I've been to, they do get to speak. I mean, the little citizens talk about what they don't like and go on and on and on. And obviously the applicant gets to speak. I mean, it's been fair. I don't know. I don't want to beat the planning commission up on this one if it comes down to input, because they do let everybody say what they got to say, even if it's late, because I have to leave. They stay too long for me. No.
I've been to a few planning commission meetings, and you're right. I had to bring 2 dinners.
Yeah.
They were so long, but that's okay. The one thing that I say, even if we don't pass all of it, is if you look at 3.3.2, the pre-application public meeting. And I think that will benefit the county greatly when I read this, and the fact that right now, there's no requirement for a public meeting or a public hearing. I've had several, just in this last one, as a matter of fact, the last planning commission meeting, they asked the applicant if they had met with the community, and the answer was no. It was the same developer, the same, I don't know what that lady was called. Do you know, Dr. Fant, what she's called? I forget. The lady that came up and presented it. Whoever the planner that designed all the stuff for the developer. Anyway, she had not
From
talked.
engineering, came up about 3 times.
She came about 3 or 4 times, and every time Mrs. Manning asked her, "Had you met with the public?" No, and the public was all there. So I think before we don't toss the baby out with the bathwater here, is I think if you're not happy with all this, please consider 3.32 is substantially helping everybody along, especially the communities get involved with the developer before it actually gets to us, so we can solve some of the bigger issues that we may see with 40, 50 people in the seats because they've never met.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Only thing I would say about it, the only part that gives me heartburn is the removing the staff recommendations from the process, just like I alluded to previously. The other was a staff decision. This is a recommendation, and if we're scared of a recommendation at the county government, we got big problems. So I can't support that particular part. The rest of it, to me, that just seems a little more political and to appease the public, when really it could cause some more problems, because we won't potentially have that advice to lean on.
I kind of like it. I don't like all of it, but some of it.
Yeah. Are you done, Doctor?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like some of it, and some of it I don't, and I do agree that some of this can cause more problems than help. Would it be too much to hold us and see if we can't, let me look at it some more and see if I can pick out the pieces I can live with?
Well, I think you could live with all of it except that the piece that Ben's speaking about, take out the staff recommendations. I like the staff recommendations because you are the experts. I mean, I say that seriously. Like when I review all of these, when I was looking through them last night and reading them all, I was looking, did the staff recommend or deny and why and what your notes are. I read every note. I think if I could offer an amendment, the amendment would be this, that we drop on section 3.3.3 submittal requirements, we drop the last, in paragraph 2, the last sentence, Greenville County Planning Staff's role in the subdivision process is critical technical consultant, finder of fact, and application processor. However, the Greenville County Planning Staff shall make no recommendation as to approve or disapproval of any application by the SAC, Planning Commission, or County Council. Just drop those last two sentences, and I'd be happy with the rest of it.
I'll go then, I'll get you. I agree with all of the amendment, but as my colleagues mentioned, we pay these folks for their expertise, for their education, and I always look to see what they recommended, yes or no, and why. Just to have a recommendation with no explanation, I can see, but with the explanation is why they yay or nay. I think that's what they're paid for. So I like everything on there but that part. So I could live with all of it, but that if we could stretch that.
Any more discussion on the amendment?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
He had already recognized me, but he said he was going first. You know, when the chairman goes first, that makes it really tough for us to say anything against what he says, but that's okay.
I waited as long as I could.
I know you did. I know you did. I had some issues with 3.3.2 about the meeting. I was thinking if our staff changes and we got people on board who seemed fair, but then turned out not to be fair, and kept putting people off so that they didn't have the pre-meeting, then that could cause a problem for us. But I understand the need for the pre-meeting because I always try to engage people in the community with the developer whenever there's going to be some kind of a change in that particular part of Greenville or in the neighborhood. So, Mr. Chairman, I would like to hold this for further study so that we could work with staff a little bit and the Planning Commission and come back with something that actually says what we want it to say rather than just saying, okay, well, I'm good with this section, I'm not good with this section, and passing it just to be passing it. So I would like to make a motion to hold this for further study.
I think that since the motion to make an amendment was, we have to vote on that first, since that motion was made first.
Actually, under y'all's rules, the motion to hold down would have to be.
At President.
And then, once it's resolved, the motion to amend.
Roger.
So the motion on the floor is to hold.
Vote
Can
on
we
the
like
floor
just
right
only to
now.
the next meeting so we don't drag this out? Because it can be
we
easily
don't need
fixed,
to.
but I don't want to just, right, this second is really, I want to look at this a little more, try to, avoid some unintended consequences. I kind of like it, but I'm just not extremely comfortable right this second.
Mr. Chairman, yeah, right now, you would have to, the body would first need, or the committee would first need to go ahead and deal with the motion to hold. And then depending on what happens with that, we go forward from there.
Can the motion include being taken up next P&D meeting?
You can, yeah, absolutely, you could.
Can that be part of this motion?
Whoever made the motion to hold could make that addition, or somebody could
Can you make a?
ask them
would it
to.
be-
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move that we hold this until the next Planning and Development Committee meeting.
Second.
So we need to vote for that, and that contents.
Yeah, staff was in my ear about something. They figured it out. It's nothing to see here.
Okay. All
So
right.
we're ready to go with the motion.
All right, the motion is to hold for 2 weeks till we come back again, well, the next P&D meeting, whenever that is.
Yeah, I think that's in a month, is what I was being told.
Okay. So all in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
All right, so this is on hold until the next P and D. All right,
Thank
next,
you, Mr. Chairman.
thank you. The next zoning ordinance text amendment, please.
Last one here. Should I? Sorry, I didn't even wait for you to call me up. I didn't.
We need your name and address.
Yes. By the way, y'all work together great. Y'all are happy and smiling and talking good. And I actually want to give credit to Chairman Blunt for that. This is a very different field than some of these I've been to. Well, yeah, and Rick, but I mean, that was part of, I know that was part of the deal, was we all are happy and get along with each other. Okay, getting on to this one, and I apologize for the commentary, but this one is a companion to the earlier Paris Mountain one that you've already approved. What you approved earlier was initiating that ordinance that I had actually initiated, but through a Rube Goldberg process, we had to come back and have you basically initiate it from this committee. This is a companion to that. It only does two simple things. One, it beefs up the language of the ESDM up there to protect Paris Mountain, and it just gives intents, which, you know, you've seen in all of our ordinances. We have recitals at first, which we state the intent. Why are we doing this? So there's no doubt later on, if somebody challenges it, why this thing even exists. So that's what it does. It adds beefed up language about environmentally sensitive. The other thing it does is, and Attorney Antley will tell you, this may be problematic for us at the county level, so we're also doing this at the state level. But I ask that you pass it here, because anything we pass is presumed valid unless a court later tells us it's not. I don't think it's harmful to go ahead and pass this part now. But what it would say is that you can't, with the massive expansion of the park that we did last term up there, there's more traffic. There's a great entrance right now. We want to say, as a county, we protect Altamont Road from another entrance, which my district and people up there believe. But I think if you think about it, Altamont Road is just not a bunch of spoiled residents up there who just want everything their way. Unfortunately, that road is like, I think they call it the Serpent or something in some other places. People come here to the county to go there and race and do crazy stuff. The more you bring with either hotels or parks or whatever, the more you got. And in my campaign materials last year, they gave me a picture where there was a car on fire over there. There was just somebody seriously injured. Many, many people tell you multiple times cars have ended up in their yards and everything out there. This is protecting another entrance, which is not even necessary, and it's complicated for the park. It's protecting Altamont Road from just another entrance to the Paris Mountain Park. So I'd ask you to pass that. Thank you.
Mr. Shaw,
Yeah.
didn't we just deal with this last year? And you just waited till you got a new crowd and brought it back?
We did, and we did a resolution, Dr. Font. And yes, we are running that part of it up the flagpole again. And again, you know, hey, it's if we pass it, it's presumed valid.
But it is a state road, right?
It's a straight road, yes, sir. Yes.
And
sir.
we have no jurisdiction over state parks, recreation, and tourism.
It's gray area. We
is
might,
gray.
we might not. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay. He waited on you to get here, Mr. McGahee, because the rest of us been down this road.
Any other questions?
I like being the new guy.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw.
Thank you.
Councilman Shaw. All right, discussion, please.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
with it being a state road, have we had any input on this type of passage from SCDOT or traffic engineer consultants that would endorse this, or have they spoke to it at all, or is we just doing it to hope that there's no flow back from the state, or?
You asked,
I guess Dr. Shaw could, whoever, I just.
Yeah, and does any of y'all want to answer? I don't want to just. We've had state representatives addressing this, and the parks, and there's meetings up there, everything. The park system is just going to be very protective of what, they don't want to have any restrictions on what they want to do in the future. So they've been lobbying to not have any access restricted. They've said the most they're going to do would be bikes or something like that to the additional trails that are there. We don't want to leave it up to them to leave it in their hands. I would like to try on behalf of the district and behalf of our county to try to keep that from happening. I believe there was some legislation passed. Our entire delegation is behind this idea for the most part, from what I can tell, because they had passed a law. The governor, at the last minute, as part of those little things we spend money on I can't even remember, the little ham pork projects at the end, he vetoed it like at the last minute, this one specific thing which had nothing to do with spending or anything like that. So the governor has vetoed this. So my opinion is that they're circling the wagons in Columbia, and we're trying to protect this here. So I'm just asking, whatever we can do at the county to help protect this, let's do it. And that's
Even
what
if
I'm
it's
at.
not enforceable.
Well, we don't know that. It's presumed valid unless and until a court tells us it's not.
So, not the smartest guy on land here, obviously. If we have dominion over the property surrounding Altamont Road, it is county property, whether it be zoned, unzoned, or is Altamont completely in Paris Mountain State Park? And I apologize for not looking that up.
Just the backside.
So,
Go ahead.
here's my thought on that, is that right now the legislature is looking to, as a result of some of this stuff, don't forget we have an ESDPM. We have a special designation there. The legislature, from what I've been talking with them about, is they want to improve that protection across the state. It's not just for us, because we want to have, in Florida, they call them areas of critical state concern. It may be the Keys, or it may be certain bays or something like that. And so South Carolina, the same idea is here. There's some areas that are critical, like the Paris Mountain, or there's some in the Low Country and all that. So they're trying to beef that up. In the meantime, we're trying to do what we can here. But am I answering your question, or am I off on
Well,
it?
kind of, yeah, but I guess my question is, if Altamont Road runs like this, and is there land on on the side of it that could affect what happens in Paris Mountain, if it's zoned or land property or something almost like we have going on right now with the hotel? But I'm asking if there is, do we actually have purview over land on Altamont Road that would affect Paris Mountain? Could someone cut a road through and give that to somebody and sell it to a hotelier? I mean, that's the kind of question I'm asking here. Would this, as I read this seems that this would protect us from some of that, but I'm not sure, and that's why I'm asking this question to the attorneys.
To answer your first question, or the main question you've asked, is I haven't gone back and looked at all the zoning around there and who or what property is where up there, so I don't have an answer for that. But the more fundamental question is the thing that Councilman Shaw has already broached, which is our research is indicative that it would be problematic. And so from a standpoint that the state road system is exclusively within the purview of the state of South Carolina, and that egress and ingress onto even a secondary highway of the state is outside the authority of the county to prohibit or to allow. That's our opinion from our office. Mr. Shaw and Councilman Shaw and I have talked about it too at length, and as he knows too, is nobody has ever ruled specifically on Altamont and this situation, but this is where we think it would head. He is right that passing any ordinance that y'all pass is deemed valid until invalidated, but I'd caution against relying on that, because there's also statutes that might affect whether or not we pay out money or things if we're wrong on that. And the other thing that I just want to caution everybody about, and I don't believe Mr. Shaw or Councilman Shaw and I talked about, we have an active lawsuit right now dealing with a decision out there with regard to Altamont Road. And so it makes me a little concerned when we start messing around out there while we still have active litigation.
So, Dr. Shaw, if you could, How is this going to benefit the county if this passes? What is it, in like the 50,000 overfoot view, what's it going to do for the county?
Okay, I will answer that, but please remind me not to forget my final point on this thing, which is
Okay,
important.
don't
okay?
forget.
You asked, how does this help the county? My thought was that when we passed, we expanded, using our historic trust and all that, we expanded the park to twice the size. My thought at the time was that we were protecting a gem for the county. It's basically our showpiece park. The theory is that if you allow more access on Altamont Road, then that opens up to more, and it's not the kind of peaceful park we're talking about. It's going to be more of the racing and the loud, and because they'll just use that as a parking spot to hang out, or hey, meet us over there, or the first guy to the that access area is a winner of this particular race. So it's if you want to keep that a peaceful environmental place, we believe that the access is going to affect that. The final point is, please don't let this pass, is that pass you by. This is a two-part ask, remember. We're asking to beef up the ESDM part of the language in the recitals, and we're asking for this thing that Dr. Font has told you his opinion on. Please, if you need to, give us the beefed up stuff first as a priority, and then you can do what you believe best about the second part. I do believe it's important for us to pass that, even if it's just ends up being invalid. It's something where we show that we are looking to protect that area.
So my understanding, Dr. Shaw, you'd be happy with getting rid of the red part of section 2, the red line part, and keeping the amendment in section 1?
I'm not happy to get rid of any of it, but I understand you have to do what you have to do. You've got arguments from the attorney and yourselves. It is splittable, and I would ask you to consider that fact.
Go ahead.
Which section were you, if there was someone making an amendment to remove part of it, which part were you saying, the beefed up part that needs to be in there now?
Yeah, the part 2, which is the saying we deem that you can't access off of Altamont Road to the state park. That's the part you could let go if you deem. The part we really need to keep is to strengthen the recitals about what the purpose of that ESDM is, which is to protect the environment and the other part.
And just so I can, tell me if this makes sense. So ultimately, I think what the goal we're trying to get here is we're concerned that the park could allow for an entrance onto Altamont in the more dangerous sections that are too narrow to have extra traffic. And so this would be a way to hopefully prevent that from happening from safety concerns and for just aesthetic.
Yeah, through the ESDM overlay, we would say that overlay does not permit access from Altamont Road to Paris Mountain State Park. It's as simple as that.
Any more questions for Dr. Shaw? All right. Any other more discussion? Does anyone make a motion?
It would be quite hypocritical for me to sit here and say yes when I just said no 6 months ago. So I'm going to move for denial.
We have a motion on the floor for denial. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
So 3-2, so.
You're opposed to the denial?
Yes.
Yes.
so-
Okay.
We didn't get a chance to talk amendments, so I had to start with what I had.
Yeah.
Are they amendment? I'm open for amendment.
I think we've already,
I think you just denied
I
it.
think it's been made. I don't know if that's something we can.
I mean, you could move to reconsider. It is during the same regular meeting, but that'd be, if y'all wanted to.
I'll make a motion to reconsider this, the denial, and say that we keep section 1. I'd like to make an amendment to the ordinance to amend section 8.5, that we get rid of section 2 at the red line section 2 at this time, and keep section 1.
and Mr. McGay, I assume you're making those in two parts. One's the motion to reconsider. Then
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So
Yep.
we need a mo.
So I'd like to make a motion to reconsider, knowing that I will be making that amendment.
And this is being done under the guise of the new rule that even if you're not on the prevailing side, you can move to reconsider.
That is y'all's rule?
Their rules, but go ahead.
So you hear the, what is this? A motion to reconsider?
No.
Yes.
Absolutely not.
Aye. Okay, now that that's passed, I'd like to make a motion an ordinance to amend section 8.5, to amend section 2 to delete the red line portion at the bottom, the last sentence.
Mine doesn't show the red line.
There's no red line on mine either.
No red line. What am I missing?
Just for clarification, can somebody clarify what we're,
Yeah, you would be,
Removing.
I believe, and council,
Oh, never mind. I see the red line person. Go ahead.
okay. Yeah, but anyway, it's, right now, it's the last sentence, it would be the the proposed addition of the last sentence to 8.5.8, which says any access to or connection with Altamont Road by Paris Mountain State Park or from an extension of Paris Mountain State Park or any other similar uses are prohibited. That would be the portion that you would be amending out to this amendment.
So we will remove that from.
Correct.
Okay.
And you're leaving all of section 2, even the new underlined red section?
No, that's coming out. The black section stays.
No, just said remove the red line.
We remove the red line.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, in section 2, section 858, you just had a text amendment proposed, and you just made a recommendation to full council to remove all the black language that you see there. So that black language will actually be removed as well if council does approve that. So section 858 would then stand as intentionally left blank.
You want to take out the whole thing?
Just to clarify, you have two, just because we have kind of two in parallel initiations of text amendments. The first initiation of text amendment that had already been to zoning public hearing, which you voted on a few minutes ago, that was the one that Mr. Shaw was talking about, where he's proposed to take out the black language in the language in black type at 5.8, which talks about the revert back. But right now, that's in there. That is the actual ordinance. And so with this initiation, it's saying that you would add this any access language we
Right.
just talked about. What Mr. Henderson was saying is that if the first one passes,
Yes.
then
It remains
this
the
one,
same.
and this was amended out, it will ultimately read just intentionally deleted and be held as a number that just says intentionally deleted.
Mr. Chairman? Just for clarity, and Dr. Shaw can speak to this, just to make sure we know what we're doing. And I think what we're trying to say is we're discussing striking section 2 in general, the whole thing.
Correct, yeah. You've already, the first thing that's already come through, it has already stricken that black part. My proposal here was trying to add that underlined red at the bottom, that last sentence or two. You would amend it now to take that out, so you wouldn't have to worry about it. You'd satisfy Dr. Font and all that. If that makes sense. In the end, you're taking the entire thing out between the two bills. Yes.
Section 2, we'll be striking it completely.
Yes, but because if you already passed the first thing, you only have to amend here to strike out any access to or connection, that red underlined. Does that make sense? Because you've already taken out,
So section 2 would never, it'd just be nothing.
it will ultimately be out between the two of these bills.
I just want to make sure it was clear for public what we were actually taking out, because I think some people were confused if it was just, this, I
Yeah,
think.
no, I appreciate your detailedness, but that's a good question, and that's what the result would be.
Okay.
All right, so Kurt, your motion is to remove the red line from section 2.
I'll remove section 2. Make a motion to amend the amendment to remove section 2.
All right, all in favor of that amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
No.
So we will be moving the red line from section 2. That's
I make a motion to pass the ordinance to amend section 8.5 as amended.
Section 2.
We already moved the black before.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Kurt, go ahead, do it again.
I'd like to make a motion to pass an ordinance to amend Section 8.5 as amended.
All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
No.
Carried 3-2. Next.
Mr. Shaw, are you leaving?
I can stay. I don't have to talk, though.
Item 9 is a request for Planning Commission to reconsider PP 2025-015 Bellwin. I think Councilor McGahey, this is one that you have proposed.
Yeah, this would be to comply with Council Rule 4A. I'm presenting to the Planning and Development Committee at its next meeting to allow County Council to request that the Planning Commission reconsider its approval of a preliminary plan. Under Planning Commission bylaws, the Commission may reconsider any review when requested by County Council. The preliminary plan being requested for reconsideration is Papa 2025015 Bellwin. Would you like me to speak on it?
Yes, go ahead.
So after talking with a lot of the surrounding community, obviously not happy with the cluster development in that area. They don't believe it fits the area. The interpretation in the ordinance is to match surrounding area. People in the community don't believe this does so when I look at it. And I know that the product that Hartness makes, and it's a very nice product. They have nice houses and all that, but does it fit the surrounding character? Does it meet the intent of what cluster? Goes to the heart of what we were speaking about earlier. Does it address cluster? Is that where we want cluster developments in places like that? I don't believe so. And having listened to the residents and talked to other people, and I know the developers here tonight, I'd like to let them speak and hear from them, but that's the reason we put this forward.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
I've been on here a long time. When is the last time, maybe staff, when does subdivisions come up, Planning Commission make a recommendation, and it end up back here anyway? Like it's a zoning change? I've never seen that before.
The committee rules what did it. Normally, the last time that a reconsideration was done by council, not by an applicant, would have been the Ethan Richard, what was that? Was it 2018? Yeah, I believe it was 2018, and it was brought on the council floor and then through committee. It could have been brought on the council floor. It would have had to either get like 2/3 vote of the council to avoid the committee rule. So y'all's committee rule makes it have to bounce into a committee, but you don't remember it because it's very seldomly, y'all don't, this isn't done very often. Last time that I can remember it being done, like I said, was 2018. Councilman Dill did that one.
And this has always been in our rules to do this?
Well, it's really, this is in the bylaws of the Planning Commission, actually. So the Planning Commission bylaws under Article 6, Section 4 says that the Planning Commission may reconsider any review when so requested by the governing body, and then there's other language that deals with whenever an applicant has had their application denied. That doesn't apply here, so you're just talking about the governing body. So it's a, kind of a unique part of the rules, or the bylaws, excuse me, of the Planning Commission, but that is what's being exercised here. And then once we do that, then we're now in your rules, and it says, ordinances, resolutions, or any other matter. Your rules say that any other matter has to bounce around to a committee. So if you just started it on the floor, it'd come down here and then have to go back up anyway, so.
But is this not a slippery slope? I mean, really? This could get I'm gonna applaud you, because there's plenty of things that have come out of that Planning Commission, subdivisions that I didn't like. And if I'd have known we could move to reconsider and get them back here to talk about it some more, I'd have tried it. But that's still a dangerous, I would not want us getting involved in every single subdivision that they rule on if we don't like.
It is in my district.
I get that. You do realize this could be a real slippery slope. Could be. You could have used it a couple of times yourself.
Yeah, I could. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Mustark, or you Dr. Blunt?
Dr. Blunt, definitely not that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If any of the people with the group would be willing to discuss a little bit, I have a question really more than anything. Just if we were to entertain this, one, do you have the confidence that the Planning Commission would still make a recommendation of approval? And two, what kind of money, what kind of cost implications, and things like that would happen as a result of this timeline-wise for it to be revisited by the Planning Commission again? If anybody could speak to that. Yes, sir. Sure, absolutely. I mean, as long as the chairman allows.
Just state your name and address for the record.
Thank you. Jim Burns, 105 Adams Creek Place. I appreciate the time. I represent Hartness Development, who is doing this on behalf of the Bradshaw family. Mr. Steve Buckingham is the attorney representing the Bradshaw family here. So, little history, the Planning Commission has already seen this 3 times. And the first time it came up and it was moved for denial and it was voted 4-4. So denial did not succeed. Then it was moved for approval. It was also 4-4, which everybody stayed the same. So we actually moved to reconsider it, and we had to prove grounds as the applicant of what had happened, that something extraordinary had happened. What we're saying to you tonight is what extraordinary thing. Sure, the folks at Sugar Creek, there are a limited number of folks who didn't like this, Councilor McGahee. However, the process has gone through. We have since that happened, we have told the engineers to go full bore because we want to put permits in. So to say we're going to send it back, Chairman Blunt, I would tell you the Planning Commission has changed because you all just appointed new people. And 2 people on the Planning Commission are no longer there. And so, I don't know if you call it ex post facto, you call it double jeopardy, you can call it a lot of different things, but we're moving forward on the project because the planning staff, the experts with the planning staff, as you've called them here in the meeting tonight, have said moved for approval twice. And to Councilor Shaw's thing, anytime when you approve something, as was said earlier tonight, that has the rule of law. And so, Councilor McGahee, if you want to change the ordinance around cluster development, that is totally within council's purview to do. However, those of us who have used that which is currently in there to move forward projects should not be penalized, and it's a heavy penalty for sure to say that now something that is currently on the books, because we're going to look at it and reconsider it, that everything that is currently in place will no longer be honored. That sends a real strong message to the public about what can happen within Greenville County. And I'd invite Stephen to come and Mr. Buckingham to come and talk about he's done some research on this the last time to Dr. Fant's point.
If I may, Mr. Councilman?
Yes, sir.
May I ask a question of Mr. Burns real quick before he sits down?
Sure.
So it failed twice. What was significantly different to make it past the 3rd time? What was the significant difference?
No, sir, it didn't fail twice. It failed the first time. We asked for a reconsideration.
That's fine.
They did not vote to reconsider it at the time.
Okay, so what was
So the second
significant?
time.
What is significantly changed about the plan that made it approved?
Councilman McGahee, what we're talking about is to send it back.
Okay.
So that was all things that came out at the Planning Commission hearing.
I'm not asking
When
that.
they did
Mr.
that,
Burns,
they voted 5-4 to approve.
I understand. What I'm asking you is, I want to know for my own.
But there were
information.
a
What was
multitude
significant
of
change?
factors that changed.
So name me a few.
Reduction of the number of houses.
From what to what?
Reduction of
From what to what?
townhomes.
From what to what?
Traffic engineering study showing that the traffic improvements
Okay,
actually.
I get it.
Encourage.
How many lots were
improve the
originally? How many lots were in the original plan?
I don't. My civil engineer.
72. How many were in the?
72
How many
to
were in the?
70
How
or
many were?
something like
How many
that.
were in the last one?
70. 69.
So is 3 out of 70, is that a significant number of reduction? Townhomes? I mean, I'm asking, is it, if we're talking semantics here in language, and I'm about to hear from a lawyer,
Right.
what is that a significant change that would hold up in court? I'm changing less than 1%?
There's a lot of things that changed. That is one of the things.
Okay.
There were a number of things that changed.
Okay.
The fact of the matter remains, does the cluster development, is it in effect when we applied for this? And it did.
I hear what you're saying.
So, and the other thing is in the planning commission, the thing that changed, that got it to be approved, is all nine commission members were there.
Okay,
And so it passed 5-4.
okay.
So,
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, give us your name and address for the record so we know.
Yes, sir. So my name is Steve Buckingham. My home address is 405 North Main Street in Greer. My business address is 114 Poinsett Highway. So business and personal, I am a constituent of this county. I would like to begin where this meeting began, with the invocation, when there was the comment about us moving together positively for the people of Greenville County. And I would also add to that we must move together lawfully, because if we're not moving together lawfully, then by definition we cannot be moving together positively. Now, I want to address some of the concerns that have been brought up, starting with yours, Dr. Fant. Your comment from just a moment ago was, are we not getting into a slippery slope by inviting this committee to, in turn, ask council to reconsider the decision of the Planning Commission? And I agree with you about that, but let's set that aside for just a second. And I want to fall back on what the state laws are. And this is a very important point for the procedural posture of what you guys are discussing right now. Under South Carolina Code Section 629-1150D, if anyone has been aggrieved by a decision of the Planning Commission, they have 30 days to take an appeal to circuit court. Now, certainly, if there's a properly filed motion for reconsideration, that may stay, I think, the time for pursuing the appeal with the circuit court. But that's not where we are right now. The Planning Commission's decision came down on March 26th of this year. 30 days after that was April 25th. We're now 10 days past that. I understand that there is a motion being debated to ask council to determine whether or not they will ask for reconsideration, but the ship has sailed, ladies and gentlemen. The ship on that has sailed, and now it is the law that this group is entitled to approval. And I noticed before I came over here for this meeting, when you go online, it still doesn't show that the Planning Commission approved their application. And the last thing that anyone wants to do is to have a lawsuit about this. That doesn't help developers, and it doesn't help the county. But if that's the only way they can get what they're entitled to, which goes back to your question, sir, about show you chapter, line, and verse where in the law it says that if you check all the boxes, a group that's entitled to a permit gets the permit, I would suggest to you that that is found in the Constitution of the state of South Carolina and the United States. What the procedure established by state law does is create a property right. And if folks proceed down that path of requirements and they check all the boxes, then they have a property right to the license which they are due. And then it becomes a question of, do we have to get a black robe involved to call balls and strikes? And as Mr. Antley said, I would ask you to be very cautious about that, because there are laws that also would make this body pay out money if you're wrong. We don't want to go there, but we're prepared to. I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, when were you or your clients notified that this would be happening? And is there a clause in that law you stated about a notification and when that notification takes effect inside the 30 days? 'Cause I'll bet you were notified within 30 days.
Let me quote you the actual law.
Okay, I didn't ask you that. I asked you were you notified.
Well, yeah,
When were you notified?
on March 26th.
Okay, so was
because-
that within the 30-day window?
Is what?
You were notified of this action becoming?
Of the decision of the Planning Commission?
Yeah, that was a motion for reconsider. I think Mr. Burns was, because he called me that very day he received a letter.
Well, sir, your letter was April 9th. And so
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
regardless,
All right,
proposing.
hold on a second. Mr. Antley, did you send a letter?
I did send a letter.
Oh, okay, so you've been notified. Do you know what date that letter was?
Your letter says April 9th.
Okay.
And I have it in front of me, sir. But in terms of what triggers the 30 days, it is an appeal from the decision of the Planning Commission must be taken to the circuit court within 30 days after actual notice of the decision. Actual notice came the day of the decision. These folks were at the planning commission.
I'll be willing to see you in court. Thanks.
I wonder if the rest of your body feels the same way.
If I had $1 for every time somebody told me you're going to get sued, I'd quit county council and I'd move to Florida in a mansion worth $10 million.
Yes, ma'am. You state your name and address so we know who's talking.
My name is Deborah Manning. I'm at 210 Von Hollen Drive in Greenville, South Carolina. I'm one of your planning commissioners. I've been on the planning commission for 1 year. I got reappointment, thanks to the county council, for an additional 4 years. I think the additional information that needs to be added here was that there was an incredible amount of pressure that was brought by Harkness Group. Telephone calls, there were emails, and in fact, I spoke directly with another planning commissioner who said that she had a private conversation with not one, not two, not three, but 4 of the Harkness project developers. At that time, when she had that conversation, she subsequently said that she wanted to go ahead and, during the Planning Commission vote, change her vote from a no vote to a yes vote to approve. What was also interesting is she had a whole list of conditions that the Harkness Group, apparently they worked it out in this private conversation, the telephone conversation, that the Harkness Group had agreed to do. I think it's also a misnomer to say that the Planning Commission does not like cluster developments. We just approved a cluster development in Berea. We worked with the D.R. Horton Group. The D.R. Horton Group in the particular subdivision could have gone with 58 units. They reduced it down to 34 units. And what they ended up doing was increasing the open space, so that the residents would be able to have a place to be able to have a fireplace, be able to have baseball, be able to have some kids out there playing in the middle of the open space. So it's a misnomer to say that the Planning Commission does not look at each and every one of the subdivisions individually, and that we are completely against subdivisions. What we're against is the overdevelopment and the over-intensification of units in the county. It's fine in terms of cluster developments in the city, but in the county, we do and we must have a different approach. Thank you.
Ms. Manning, I got a couple of questions.
Perfect.
Do you y'all met too long, I left. Do you remember what the vote count was when it got approved this last time?
Well, this last time, we had I believe we had 5-4. Yeah, and that one vote from the individual who had the private conversation, that one vote was changed from a no vote to a yes vote.
Okay.
Any other questions? Why not? Come on.
Any other questions?
No, thank you.
No,
ma'am.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So first, I want to address the changing no vote to a yes vote. At Councilor McGahee's direction, we called Ms. Phillips, who was the one. She did not, in fact, she never voted no. She voted not to reconsider. And at Kurt's insistence, we said, we're going to get in touch with her and talk to her so that she can see, because she wasn't at the original presentation. So that's what this private meeting, that's what that was. And
I did not, well, just to be clear, Jim, I did not insist you guys talk. That is a misnomer. You know.
Okay. At you said we should call her and get in touch with her.
That's not what I said.
Okay. Well, I go back to the thing, if as she said, the other cluster developments got approved by the Planning Commission, so why aren't they here as well?
I want to clarify what was said because that's very important. I was asked if you guys should speak, and I said, that's up to you guys. I said, I can't control your people, your developer, she's on that. I said, I have no control. I didn't know the law. I said, hey, if you guys talk, that's something for you guys to decide. That's not, I did not call you and say you should talk. Let's be clear.
Okay.
Any questions for Mr. Burns? Any questions for him? Any other?
So now this would have to go back to council, right?
Yeah, it's my thought to vote yes on this so we can go to council, so we can have 7 more heads to, I don't want to, for it to stall here because there's a lot of unanswered questions. I don't even like the process of a county council who appoints the commissioners, and then we want them to reconsider. Is that not putting pressure on people that we have appointed? It may be legal, but it don't seem so right to me, but I'll wait on a motion from you guys if you're through discussion.
He's the one brought the motion.
Can I have one more question, Mr. Hanley, please? So I'm not a lawyer here, but I'm going to ask you, is it considered law that the planning commission has its rules, and one of the motions is to reconsider? So is that a lawful motion that I'm making, or is this unlawful?
Well, it is in our rules. It's been done before. If, to the extent that we want to talk law at this point, when there's been an open threat of litigation, though, I would suggest that if y'all need legal advice at all, we would do that in a executive session to maintain attorney-client privilege and not waive it, but that would be my advice to this committee. But
Okay.
it is a provision in the bylaws, and the bylaws have never been struck down by any court thus far.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to pass the request for planning commission to reconsider Papa 2025015 Bellwin.
I was going to make it clear that I will vote yes for this to go to council so that we can have a full council debate and discuss. In the meantime, I will be looking to our council for legal advice to follow, but motion has been made, so all in favor? Say
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, passed. I need one more motion.
Motion to adjourn?
Thank you, sir. Motion to adjourn.
Aye.
Recording stopped.